Mornings in the country, Wednesday morning. Hello, I am Gene. I am joined by Bryce and Alex, and we have a special guest with us. I invite everybody, first of all, to tune in on our Facebook page. If you haven't done so yet, give us a like. Alex, tell us more.
Okay, well, let's start with this because there's no secret. There's a lot of garbage out on the TikTok these days. A lot of really terrible things that people consume. However, there are also some really, really good things. There are people doing very purposeful and meaningful things on TikTok. And I feel like we've been blasting TikTok lately. So we brought on Nebraska's own Noah Young with the Shiloh Farm. You've probably come across him on social media because he, I am not exaggerating, has millions of followers on social media. So, Noah, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hello, really grateful and humbled to have been invited on. Big fan of the show, and so just excited to be here this morning.
Well, we are excited to have you as well. And we just wanted to dive into what the world of TikTok actually looks like for people who use it for good. Because let's be honest, a lot of people don't. So, Bryce, you have a burning question, and I'm just going to let you take it away.
Well, first, let's quickly set the stage, Noah. Tell our audience what kind of content you create that you share out on various social media sites, including TikTok.
Yeah, well, I started TikTok 4 years ago. I feel like my content has evolved a lot through the years. So I started with just chicken facts. I was purely about every day coming out with a new chicken fact, and I knew that eventually I would run out of chicken facts. So I've evolved my content into all things agriculture, and so if it's food related, if it's farm related, that is the type of content that I like to make and keep it educational and entertaining.
So I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about how much people, content creators, influencers make from all of your interactions. What's the most money you've heard someone making on social media or TikTok?
That's a great question. Most people that are doing it full time are making probably six figures. I know that I was able to hit that mark last year, and so I was super grateful to have hit that. But at the same time, there's a lot of expenses that go into that. That's not all profit, but it's like gold mining at this point. There's a gold rush for all these advertisers that are flocking to social media, and so I always tell people I'm not trying to gatekeep anything. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars to be made if you are willing to put yourself out there and start sharing your story on social media.
Is this in the form of endorsements, or like how specifically are you actually making money on TikTok?
Sure. Me personally, I try not to make as much off the platform because that platform, they're so inconsistent. So there were some months about a year ago where I was making $4,000 on Facebook, and other months where it was 300. And so it just fluctuates so much. I don't make it off the platforms as much. YouTube is definitely where you go if that's where you're looking to make your money. The majority of the income comes off of brand deals. Depending on if you're a smaller creator, a lot of that's like affiliate links and things like that. But for me, it's particularly my sponsors. I have some that are, monthly sponsors that I know they're going to kind of pay the bills. I'm the sole provider for my family of six of us. So I have to have kind of that consistency. But then there's also one-off deals. Companies like Tractor Supply have been really helpful for me, just giving me continuous support. And so most of it is through those brand deals.
All right, if
I
you
got
were
a
just
question here. Oh, sorry, Alex, cutting you
no, go
off
ahead.
there. I was just wondering. Now, I have a couple of friends that are what you would call social media influencers. I know one has about 200,000 followers. How many followers do you need to have before you can start monetizing it?
In some cases, you don't have to have any followers. There's a huge, and this is where I say a lot of the creators that are doing this full time, a lot of them will do UGC content, which is user generated content, where brands now are looking for testimonials and they're looking for real authentic reactions to their product, and they will pay people to do that. So you can actually create videos that they never go on your page. And that's what I do a lot of. A lot of my videos are for other companies that never show up on my profile, but they're paying you. So you can have 0 followers. For me, I thought, I did a lot of research. Okay, if I hit 100,000, that's when I'll monetize. And that didn't happen for me. It took me I got up to about 250 where I was able to make enough money to be able to provide for my family full time. So it just totally depends on the type of content that you're in, the niche that you have, and the the brands that are in that space.
That's wild. Okay, so obviously the reason you're on today, Noah, is TikTok is in question about what its future is going to be like. Those who are on the
Yeah.
platform saw it go dark for about 24-hour period over the weekend.
Less than
Now we have
that.
a new administration. Your perspective, someone who relies on a platform like this to have sustain a living for your family of 6. Where do you think all this is going?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see kind of how where it'll end up, because as of right now, Trump said that he would like to have U.S. ownership, 50% stake in the company, which is far different than what it was, where they wanted the whole company to be sold. And China was pretty put their foot down. I think that's why they took it down and said we're not doing that. But I'm pretty hopeful that there will be a deal now that I think terms are a little different. If not, it is what it is. I've kind of come to the point of I'm going to continue making good content, putting it out there. I think it'll be found. What is important about TikTok is that the audience is just totally different. There's different demographics. Like my Instagram audience is a lot more US based, and my TikTok audience is from all over the globe, whether that's Canada or South America. I've got such a wider reach there. And so the ability to educate people about what's happening in a small little state of Nebraska to the whole world, I just think is really cool. And it's an entirely different, not only audience, but a different creator pool as well, where all these platforms kind of have, Facebook might be for a generally older audience, or Instagram is for more professional looking, everyone on Instagram, that's like the joke, right? Everything on Instagram is pretty and it looks nice. TikTok is kind of that first algorithm where people can just pull out their phone and show real life, similar to Snapchat, where it's just authentic. And so your communities are much more engaged, and it's a lot more relatable content, because it's oftentimes, and Alex, you mentioned that all the junk that's on TikTok, there is a silver lining to that, which is often that junk is kind of what brings us together, because all of our lives are kind of junky and they're not perfect. And so if you can share those things on TikTok, that tends to be what that community is a little bit more about. And that's what I was most sad to lose, was the farm talk community. There's an entire community of agriculturalists that are just on TikTok that had an opportunity to show their lives and agriculture to the world.
A lot more to come, Noah, if you don't mind joining us off the air. We're going to continue this conversation on Facebook. Noah Young is with the Shiloh Farm on social media, millions of followers. We're talking about this looming TikTok ban and what it could actually mean for people like Noah, who provide for his very normal family here in Nebraska. So, Gene?
All right. Thank you very much. Hang with us if you're following along on Facebook, and we'll be right back with more music next on Mornings in the Country.
All right, Noah. Do you ever post a video and regret it as you look back on it?
Honestly, no. I anything that I posted, it's generally for me first. Like if it's something that I find entertaining, everyone asks me how I come up with these ideas, and the truth is, it's something that I thought. It's always been like, how do I get my tomatoes to grow bigger? And so I will do the research and put it out there. The one that I always think about regretting is, I fed my chickens Pop Rocks way back at the beginning. Is like, I don't even remember if it was a trend or a joke. And I had a chicken brand reach out, and they're like, "We would love to work with you, but we need you to take that down, because that's not very nice to your chickens."
What happened?
I was just curious to see what would happen. It did pop in their mouth, and I think she ate a couple and then was like, "Yeah, I don't want any of those."
That is hilarious.
I think I may have done that as a kid when Pop Rocks first came out.
Yeah, I mean, you're just curious. You're just curious.
Okay, so it's really hard, I feel like, in the ag space to reach an audience that's outside of your echo chamber. Like a lot of ag influencers are trying to spread correct information about food science or animal welfare, and candidly, like, they fail because they're just reaching people who are in their same echo chamber. What was your breakthrough video that like got to an actual consumer audience that does not live or have any connection to agriculture?
Yeah, I don't know if I could point to a specific video. I think for me, it was speaking to the consumer as someone who wasn't in the industry. And that's really a blessing and a downfall to me is that I don't have the same experience that all these regular agriculturalists do. And so what I like to do is bring them in as the experts. I like to collaborate with those who are actually doing it on a day-to-day basis. But connecting to the consumers, I think maybe a little easier for me because I can ask the questions that maybe don't come to the mind of an average farmer. They're so used to it and they're brought up in, like you said, that echo chamber. They're not looking at it from a different perspective. And so I think for me, having that ability to say, dairy is a great industry, or dairy is a great example of that because there's so much controversy in that industry, and I feel awful for the dairy producers, but at the same time, I can kind of approach it from, hey, maybe there isn't, maybe this isn't all sunshine and roses. I'm not trying to defend the industry, but I can really look into it and defend both sides, and give an unbiased opinion. I think that's what has allowed me to break through and reach a wider audience that way.
You're on the screen share. I'm looking at one of your videos talking about how tall corn is. I think the results were something around 13 feet. You've got a ladder out here. How long does it take you on average to put together one of the videos? I mean, you've got, looks like hundreds, if not thousands of them posted now on the various platforms.
Yeah, I think I have over 1,200 videos specifically on TikTok. Each one I would say takes roughly about an hour to film. It depends on like, now I'm really focused on the quality of what I'm doing. And so, yeah, about an hour to film and another probably hour to edit and post. So about 2 hours a day for each video. And that's kind of my goal is, especially during the summer. Right now, it's too cold. I don't get out there every day. But summertime, I definitely shoot for one getting posted every day.
And are you shooting one video a day, or do you try to shoot multiple? Like what does your day look like?
Yeah, we get like 6 days here in Nebraska where it's not windy. So I try to shoot as many as I possibly can on those particular days. If the weather's nice, I try to get as much done as I can, and then I have, backlogs so I can post. In the summertime, I'm so busy doing, trying to start our own farm that often, I don't get it as much done as I wanted. And then, yeah, I'm trying to just keep up day after day, and it gets to be a lot.
Well, I'm curious as we kind of wrap up, what's your goal? Where do you want to take your social media presence, but also your farm in the future?
Yeah, I mean, for me, social media has always been a way to connect with people, and I feel like I've been able to do that. Connect with, I'm leaving for Texas next week to go collaborate with a bunch of influencers down there, and so continuing to do that, continuing to meet new people and learn new things about agriculture is my goal with social media. But ultimately, what I want to do is, I didn't grow up in agriculture, and so I would love the opportunity for my kids to have that as an option. So I'm trying to take all of the income that we have from social media and pour it back into our farm, whether that's through the food that we're growing, selling plants. We have like a nursery business that we're starting, or eventually our goal of raising bison. I want to be able to have a business that my kids could, if they want, have the opportunity to be a part of and have entrepreneurial skills. So even with chickens, like letting my son sell eggs, that's definitely a goal of mine. Is in 10 years, I don't know if there will be social media the way that it looks like right now, and maybe I don't have to be on there. And I think having the farm as my income would be the ultimate goal.
You brought up one more thought. Sorry, I know we're trying to wrap up here, Noah. I want to be respectful of your time. You brought up your children, and you are obviously you use social media on a daily basis. How do you balance that with being a parent and also teaching children about responsible phone use, social media use? Like what does that look like in your home?
Yeah, it's really hard, especially the phone use that you alluded to there, because I mean, my wife and I are pretty well convinced we don't want our kids to have phones. And so trying to communicate that and just being honest with my son, he loves being in my videos and he sees what I'm doing. And so telling him why I'm on my phone and why I'm doing that. It's always been, hard, that work-life balance. I always take Saturdays off as my day of, like, I don't even open up social media on Saturdays. And so having, one day to kind of reset's been good, and then just times. So I try to phone goes down at 6 o'clock and I'm done. That's family time. But being able to do this as a living, social media has been incredible because I get to film with my kids. I get to plant with my kids. I film for 2 hours, and then after that, it's a matter of teaching them skills as much as I can and playing games with them at lunch. It's been truly just a blessing. And I never would have thought this was possible, but that's what social media has opened up for me and allowed me to do. And so I'm incredibly blessed by that. It's why the TikTok ban affects me, because if I had to go get a job, I wouldn't be able to spend as much time with my kids. And that is my passion, is my family. So just incredibly blessed.
Gene, I don't know about you. My perspective changed a little bit on the TikTok
would
ban.
agree.
No, I appreciate
I'll
you coming on.
probably tune in on YouTube. I'm still not ready to download TikTok myself, but
I
at
don't
least
think
you're on
it's even in the
multiple
App
platforms.
Store.
What's that?
I don't think TikTok is in the App Store anymore. I don't think you can go download it.
At
And
least there's other ways to watch it, Noah, and that's the good news.
That's my opinion. Is if you don't like TikTok, don't download. You don't need one other way to consume content. It's particularly this ban, and just looking for consistency in whatever it is, because if it is a security threat, I'd like to see the security threats of all aspects be taken care of. And so that's really my approach to that.
Noah, last word is yours. What else did you think about that you haven't had a chance to talk about?
Oh, I'm an open book. So any questions you guys have, I'm always happy to answer them. I'm just grateful. Like I said, when I was working at Green Cover, listen to you guys every morning. I'm on my way to work. So it's just an honor to be here, and thankful for the opportunity to share my story and the TikTok farming community with you guys.
All right. Noah Young is our guest. He is with the Shiloh Farm on social media. The honor is completely ours to have you on today. And this lives in perpetuity now, so people can see everything you said.
There you go.
Thanks so much, Noah.